Hey Mason second graders, how you doing? I am here to do a little meeting with you to welcome you to the week of May 11th. That's crazy. I hope you guys had a nice weekend, and I hope that you celebrated your moms yesterday for Mother's Day. I hope that you saw the special secret Google Slides that you could make for your mom to tell her and show her how much you care about her. And maybe you did something else as well. I am going to tell you a few things. We're going to continue poetry this week. And this week, our focus is going to be on shape poetry and family poems. So you're going to have an opportunity in your reading section this week to read 3 different family poems. They would have come out of our Bobs, our big orange books. And they're 3 family poems, and then I ask you some questions so you can respond on those family poems. So those are really nice this week for reading. They're pretty short, like most poems are. So go ahead and take a peek at those this week for reading. For your writing this week, you're going to be doing a shape poem. It's some of my most favorite poems to write. And in fact, it's probably my favorite poem that I usually put out in the hallway each year to display because they always look so pretty. So I hope that after you write your shape poems, maybe you can even put them in your windows. And so when people are walking by or on your doors, when people are walking by next week, they can see your shape poetry and maybe they'll read it. It's like getting it published. That's pretty cool. So I'll explain that a little bit more in the shape poetry section. You can look at that. I have some videos for you to watch about how to write a shape poem. But the main part of it is that you are going to write, you're actually going to draw your picture first and then write your poem on your picture. So that's kind of cool. That's different than what we normally do. We usually write and then make a picture to go along with our writing. This time with shape poetry, you need to draw the shape or the picture first and then write the poem because you write the poem around it. I'm going to read you right now 2 examples from Where the Sidewalk Ends, 2 examples of shape poetry, just so that you can see it. And then, like I said, there's a lot of videos this week from YouTube that I included that will give you examples and how to write your shape poems, okay? And you'll be writing a total of 3, hopefully, this week. You'll start it on Monday, finish it Tuesday, start another one on Wednesday, finish that one on Thursday, and then on Friday, write a free choice one, okay? So here's one from Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. And this one, I'm just going to show it to you first, then I'll read it to you, then I'll show it again. I can't really read it upside down. I don't know if you can tell what that is, what that picture is of. But what you can see is that, let's see if you can see it. What you can see is that the words are written in the shape of what he drew. So once I read it, you'll understand what the shape is if you don't already know. Please do not make fun of me, and please don't laugh. It isn't easy to write a poem on the neck of a running giraffe. So that's a giraffe's neck. Now, can you kind of tell? Here's the bottom of the neck all the way up, and here's the top of the neck. So I'll read it one more time. Please do not make fun of me, and please don't laugh. It isn't easy to write a poem on the neck of a running giraffe. It also rhymes laugh and giraffe. Okay, so that's an example of a shape poem. He wrote the actual words in the shape of the giraffe. Okay, and then here's another one that he wrote. I'm going to show it to you again first, and then I'll read it to you. It's super short. Okay, but let's see if you can see it. There are 3 poems on this page. The one I'm looking at is the one that's written in the shape of the picture. So here's a lady, and here's the poem is written across her nose. You see that? So let me read it to you. The longest nose in the world belongs to Miss Betty Bluebonnet, who lets me write things on it. The longest nose in the world belongs to Miss Betsy Bluebonnet, who lets me write things on it. And here's the picture. So those are 2 examples of shape poems. Shel Silverstein actually took the picture that the image, right? So the giraffe neck, and he wrote the words in the shape of the neck, and then he took the nose and he wrote the words right along the nose, and both poems described the image. So the giraffe poem was about a giraffe written in the shape of a giraffe. The one about the nose was about Miss Betty Bonnet's nose, and he wrote it in the shape of the nose. Okay, so it described the nose, it described the giraffe, and it was in the shape of the nose and in the shape of a giraffe. So that's what you're going to be working on this week. My favorite ones, and what I would have encouraged you to do if we were in school, is to write about things that are springish, okay, or summery. So ice cream, things that you are enjoying right now. Birds, like I'm loving watching the birds with Charlotte. We have a little bird's nest of turtle doves, and they just hatched about a week ago, and there's 2 little ones, but we're thinking they might fly away. So you can make an image of a bird and then write the poem inside of the feathers or the wings of the bird. You could do an ice cream cone. Those are always some of my favorites because the cone looks like this, and then you can write the shape poem in there and put all the sprinkles and things, and then maybe convince your parents that, of course, after you do your work on a poem that is about ice cream, you must eat ice cream, right? Pizza is always a fun one, like a slice of pizza. That's always good. It's an easy one to describe how it tastes. So think about how some of these things taste, how they look, how they might feel, how they might sound, right? So for a bird one, I might think about how it sounds when I look there and listen. So what it looks like and what I hear. For any type of food, maybe it's your favorite food like pizza, I might think about how it tastes, how it smells when it comes in the house or when it's in your car on the way to your house, that you just can't resist taking a bite. Also, pretty things outside, like I'm seeing a lot of flowers pop up, so making a beautiful flower or a butterfly and writing in the wings of the butterfly and talking about what those look like as they fly by or how the flowers are just starting to bloom. There's no structure to the poem itself, so you don't have to start with a certain letter or have alliteration, or you don't have to have it rhyme, but you're going to write. My suggestion is to write at least 3 different descriptions of your shape. So let's say I'm writing about pizza. I should at least talk about 3 different things about pizza. Maybe how it smells, how it looks, how it tastes. Okay, so those would be kind of the 3 things that you would write with your shape. Okay. It can be anything. If you're playing a lot outside, make a bicycle and tell me about that experience. Tell me about the baseball that you've been throwing around and practicing with, or a baseball mitt, or a basketball. Maybe you've been jump roping or hula hooping. Those are fun things to write about. Anything you want. So your job first is to create your shape. Make that picture. Make it something that you feel confident drawing. Pull up a picture of it online and that can help you sometimes when you see a picture of it, help you draw it. Draw that image and then think about your poem that's going to kind of go around it. Things that whirl and swirl are always fun. I like, there's always a couple of kids that do flip-flops. That's a good one. Or cupcakes. In May, it's my birthday. So if it's your birthday in May, I know I have a couple May birthdays. You might want to go ahead and make a cake or a birthday candle or balloons, whatever it is. Animals, I have a lot of animal lovers right now. People talking about going to the rainforest and watching the Cincinnati Zoo stuff. So make a dog, make a new animal that you learned about, whatever you want. And if you want to write about snow, then write about snow. But you're making that shape and then writing around it. So that's kind of your reading and your writing for this week, okay? For math, let me log back in here. For math this week, our focus is going to be really on some subtraction. So I have a lot. The lesson is pretty hefty for subtraction. You're going to need to do a lot of examples. So parents, if you're watching, and I'll give you this suggestion in the lesson as well, every morning we should be practicing some sort of double digit subtraction with trade first is what it's called. But to you and me, old older learners here, parents, these are going to be what we know as borrowing, okay? And so we're going to be learning that trade first method, but I have some tips and tricks to help your learners really get it. But I'm relying on you to, after we watch that video this week, to really practice that trade first every single day. And of course, that begins with knowing your subtraction and addition facts in and out. So first start with those, a couple of warm up with addition and subtraction facts, maybe 5 to 10 minutes a morning, and then switch over to maybe put a couple sticky notes around the house, and they need to go find the sticky notes. I also am providing some QR reader problems so they can write down the problem, do the problem, and then take a phone or a tablet and QR code it, and it'll give the answer. If their answer is different than the answer that shows up on the QR reader, they know they made a mistake. So that's another way they can kind of self-regulate it. So while you're working parents, have them do a couple of those, like go do 4 problems, check them with the QR readers, circle the ones that they get incorrect. And then you can go back and maybe help with those and see where their mistakes were, okay? So that's math this week. I also have a new game that will help you practice. It's a little bit tricky to explain it, so I put the directions in our document as well. So parents, you're gonna need to help your child kind of guide them through the directions and the management of the game. But once you get it, it's actually super fun and you can play with your whole family. It also would be something if you're looking for an idea to do with a grandparent or friends that are the same age. Even within our classroom, you could probably figure out a way to play the game over a FaceTime, Zoom type situation, and play that math game with somebody else or a couple other friends, as long as everybody had the supplies. That would be a really fun thing to do, I think, over FaceTime. So maybe after you've played it 1 or 2 times, connect with somebody in our class, 2nd graders. So let's say Rowan is playing it and she's played it a couple times. Maybe she calls up Manea and they are going to play a game together. Okay, I think that would be super fun. So think about that when you're doing math. Play the game a couple times, maybe by Thursday or Friday. You could play with other kids in our class if you ask your parent to maybe FaceTime them or Zoom call them, okay? And you could probably play up to like 4 kids would probably be plenty, okay? So that's just a fun example. Practice your math, but enjoy some friendship time as well, just like we would have in our classroom during math stations. Speaking of games, our Leader in Me focus this week is going to be to think win-win. So I know you know that one, think win-win. I think this is one of the most important Leader in Me character traits because it really does help us to be a leader when we can think about not just ourselves with the best outcome, but how we can make the best outcome for other people. So not necessarily winning the game, but also just winning at everybody being in a happy position after you play something or you do something when you're in a group. So I have a video that I want you to watch, and then I want you to, my suggestion is to choose a board game or a favorite game that you can play with more than one person in your family or whoever's around. And then talk about how and think about how you're choosing to play win-win. So if you're thinking win-win and you're playing a game of Monopoly, you're not frustrated when you don't pass go and don't collect $200. You're not frustrated during a game of Trouble when you have to go back, right? And also you're happy for the other person who maybe wins. So thinking win-win when you're playing games or even playing outside, or if your siblings want to do something and you don't want to do that thing because you have a different idea of what you want to play that morning, maybe you compromise and you think win-win and you decide how you are going to be happy that day and how your sibling is also going to be happy. So maybe you choose to do their something first and then yours and put a timer on so they know when to stop and to change games, okay? Thinking win-win this week. And there's also a super fun little song that I included. So if you want, you can sing that and get it stuck in your head and sing it all around the house in the neighborhood, okay? All right, so that's Leader in Me, but you can also be thinking win-win during your math games this week, okay? 5 new I Know It skills are going to be up and ready for you this week. Keep practicing on those skills. They're going to be a chunk of them that are surround subtraction. So you'll get that practice with me and also on the computer with I Know It. Feel free to keep it up with Freckle. And also don't forget about your Lexia skills and RAS Kids if you are choosing to do your 20 minutes of reading that way as well. Okay? I hope you have a great week. Keep reading, keep learning, keep playing outside, and remember how awesome I think you are. I'll talk to you guys. I can't wait to see your week of learning. Goodbye.